Alberta, rich in resources, bold in politics, and fiercely independent. That spirit of independence came with a bold promise: privatization, the key to shrinking government, improving services, and cutting costs. But decades later, has it delivered? How much has Alberta gained or lost? Let's find out. In the early 1990s, Alberta was facing ballooning provincial debt and growing calls to cut spending. Then Premier Ralph Klein and the Progressive Conservatives responded with sweeping austerity and a bold new plan: privatize. The promise? Cut government size, balance the budget, boost efficiency by transferring public services and assets to the private sector. The first major move came in 1993, when Alberta sold its stake in the Alberta Energy Company for $476 million. Today, AEC is part of Cenovus Energy, and that same stake would now be worth around $8.9 billion with annual dividend revenue lost. Alberta liquor monopoly. That same year, Alberta privatized its liquor retail system. 1,300 union government jobs were cut, and an estimated 4,000 to 6,000 lower-paying private jobs were created. Liquor stores in Alberta multiplied, expanding access, extending hours, and reshaping how alcohol was sold. And with increased availability came growing concerns about alcohol-related harms, increased consumption, public health costs, and strain on emergency services. Alberta earned roughly $150 million from the sale of assets and licenses, but lost an estimated $1.5 billion in long-term revenue that the public liquor system could have generated. Registry services, revenue lost, transparency weakened. In 1994, Alberta privatized its motor vehicle registry services. Approximately 1,800 government jobs were cut, and over $100 million in annual public revenue was lost. While access improved and new businesses emerged, wages dropped, benefits were cut, and oversight decreased. And fees increased under private operation as profit-driven operators replaced public oversight. Home care. Cheaper on paper, costlier in reality? Also in 1994, home care services were contracted out to private providers. The move aimed to reduce government costs, but resulted in job losses and lower wages, less transparency and oversight, and questions around quality, accountability, and standards of care. The Alberta Surgical Initiative, a costly experiment. Fast forward to 2019. The Alberta Surgical Initiative was launched to outsource surgeries to for-profit private clinics. At the same time, the UCP government awarded a major contract to DynaLIFE lab. But many services ended up costing taxpayers up to twice as much as in public hospitals, and wait times increased. The deal collapsed in 2023, forcing Alberta Health Services to take over, at a cost to taxpayers of $97 million in cash and debt. Alberta taxpayers paid twice, once to implement the privatization, and again to reverse its failure. Today, a new wave of privatization. Under Premier Danielle Smith, privatization is accelerating across even more sectors: surgeries, MRIs, diagnostics, ambulance services, long-term care, public contracts with private health corporations, increased funding for charter and private schools, and proposed privatization of provincial park operations. And for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, Alberta allocated $461 million in operational funding to private schools and childcare facilities. The cost to taxpayers is projected to grow to $544 million by 2027 to 2028. Meanwhile, funding per public school student has not kept pace with inflation or population growth. Many of these privatization deals are made behind closed doors, without clear public reporting. Contracts are sealed, costs undisclosed, and outcomes untracked. Infrastructure for sale. Privatization isn't just about service delivery. It's about ownership of public infrastructure. When Alberta sells off schools, hospitals, or government buildings, it loses long-term control of real estate that often increases in value. What could generate public revenue through leasing, redevelopment, or retained ownership is transferred to private companies. These are the hidden permanent costs of privatization. And they're paid not just in tax dollars, but in lost public control. Every dollar spent on inflated contracts, failed outsourcing experiments, and public services turned into for-profit ventures is a dollar not spent on strong public schools, universal healthcare, or affordable accountable services for Albertans. Does privatization pay off? Despite 30 years of promises, Alberta's privatization journey has led to significant revenue loss, job quality decline, and greater long-term costs for taxpayers. The cumulative financial impact of Alberta's privatization initiatives reveals a trend of significant revenue losses and increased expenditures. Despite the promises, taxpayers are still footing the bill, with fewer guarantees. The story of Alberta's future isn't over, but how it's written depends on what Albertans want to choose next. For more videos and facts about Alberta, be sure to like, share, and subscribe.